Welcome to the House of Fun, where it finished Celtic 2, Rangers 1. I've got Kenny and Darren with me to go over. Kenny, what was another stressful, chaotic 90 minutes to add to the pile this season, but at the end of the day, we've got the job done. We've took a massive stride towards the title, near 2 hands on it, 6 points clear with 2 games to play. Where do you even begin with that?
Yeah, I mean, the title's done. Excruciating end to the game. Last 40 minutes of the game was excruciating, but what a euphoric outcome. Those scenes in there that we've just left from, we shouldn't take them for granted. This is a golden era for Celtic. This is a generation of people that we've stamped their authority all over the country. And it's easy to come out and won it 12 out of 13 times and think, well, that's going to happen, and definitely it won't. There'll be a day when it stops. We need to savour days like today. But it wasn't easy. I didn't think we started the game that well. They were isolating Scales, which was giving them a bit of joy because he is uncomfortable. It took us a while to get into a rhythm, but when we did, we started breaking them down. Kyogo should have scored after half an hour. Lovely strike from Matt. Our second goal, lovely take from Maeda, albeit it's an own goal. So at that point, you think the game's kind of, heading for it to be done. But then they won the only footballing outlet Rangers had. I don't see Rangers having any identity. Philip Clement's got them a nice bounce when he first came in, but he's not playing them. There's no style to how they play. The only footballing outlet they had was Fabio Silva on that left-hand side. He had Johnston on toast. It was obvious. He just speed everything. Johnston was really uncomfortable with him. So get in. 2-1, sort of mixed emotions. You're obviously down to 10 men. You couldn't really see what was going on other than live play, but if Chris Boyd says it's a red card, it's a red card.
Yeah, I saw the replay at half time. It's a bad one. I thought it was 2 feet, but it's only 1 foot. He comes in, breakneck speed, and it's halfway up his calf. It could have broke his leg. I
thought Rangers made a tactical error going into the second half. I thought they shouldn't have played with 3 wingers. I felt they should have kept Sterling in the middle, maybe brought in somebody else in centre half and matched us 3-for-3 in the middle of the park. They didn't. They dropped a man out the middle of the park, and that allowed us to completely suffocate them right for the off. So they just rode the luck. But when you do ride your luck to that point of the last 15 minutes, all it takes is a long ball, nerves. And we had a mixture of being, pretty clumsy in possession, but also having some really good hard defending. I thought Lundstram played an important part actually when he came on.
He did.
So look, amazing. It wasn't that long ago we were booing Santa Claus off. Now we've won a title with 2 games to go. So we've got to be delighted. An amazing euphoric afternoon.
Aye, Darren, the outcome is all we're looking for. What do you make of the start to the game? I thought it was pretty even. And always in these games, the first goal's massive, and it's brilliant. I think technically for us, McGregor makes a run into the sort of inside bite position, cuts back, finds O'Reilly, but his touch and strike brilliant, and so important for us to go ahead.
The tempo again in these games is always going to be frantic for the start, and I always think that this season in particular that the game is always decided in the middle of the park. Guys like O'Reilly and McGregor always make the difference in that, and that goal coming from the right hand side, I think it was McGregor made the darting run down the middle, Forrest finds him, and then Riley's just positioned himself there perfectly at the edge of the box, no one near him, turns, perfect strike low, Jack Butland has no chance, and then before we're all still celebrating, and then before you know it, we're 2-0 up again down the other side this time, and I love the fact that it's John Lundstram that scores an own goal. It was Tavernier that scored an own goal last week for them, now it's John Lundstram, happy days, but I mean the switch off for the goal there, I can still see like the smoke bombs and stuff in the crowd are still lit, and then it's almost like an overload. I don't know how we got in that situation where Fabio Silva and Barisic are there. They isolate Johnston. I'll need to watch it back to see where James Forrest is and all of that. But again, when you see that, I'll need to watch it back. But you see that lofted ball come, isn't it? A driven cross by Barisic. It was like a kind of lofted ball.
Again, they've got 2 men at the back post.
Aye, maybe you're asking for. When it comes back in, that's when you're asking for your goalkeeper to come out in that. But Joe Hart's obviously not. He's of an age where he's kind of glued to his line. That kind of goalkeeper. So I think the momentum in the crowd definitely died at 2-1, and it's kind of reminiscent of the game 4 weeks ago where do you think Rangers could maybe get back into it, obviously on the difference being the crowd's on our side this time, but the red card I think just completely changed the momentum of the game. But going into the second half, I think the crowd stayed on their feet, supported the team. The last 20 minutes were nervy. There was a lot of grumblings. I thought that we should have killed the game off. In particular, I think the missed penalty maybe got in the players' heads a wee bit. I think we maybe dropped down a few gears at 2-1. It's almost like we reverted back to that way we play at Celtic Park when we're playing the other teams and we're 3-0 up and we're just comfortable and we're happy to keep possession.
But too safe,
too safe, but you can only do that for so long where it gets into the last 15 minutes and Rangers have got nothing to lose, so they're basically throwing the kitchen sink. Bit nervy, but you've got to give the defence a bit of credit. Scales will get a bit of criticism for his play on the ball, but I thought defensively was good. Carter Vickers was good. 2 fullbacks didn't have their best of days, but yeah, overall happy.
We got there, mate. Kenny, the second goal I thought was really good from our point of view. I know it's a Rangers player that finishes it, but an unbelievable switch for Carter Vickers. I actually thought at first he'd smashed it out the pitch, and to be fair to Daizen Maeda, his first touch is not always brilliant, but he picks out this guy perfectly, squares up the fullback and finds a cutback, and Lundstram just panics, he can't deal with it, he guides it into the far corner, and you thought at that time we can take the game away from them here, but as Darren says, that switch off 30 seconds later did really kill the momentum we'd gained through the 2-0.
I mean, I've still seen Vickers and Scales. Vicker can play a raking ball like that, and Maeda took that ball down brilliantly. I would say Maeda was our best man today. I mean, he was all energy, wasn't he? Right for the off, there was that sort of physical instant he had early on with Tavernier that pushed him off the ball, just set the tone for the whole thing. He pugged out there brilliantly. Okay, he's just put the ball into a bit of a gambling area, and we've got an OG out of it. But at that point, yeah, you can't help but think the game's almost over. So it was pretty amateurish the way we conceded after that, and the second half just becomes a blur. It's hard to even find a decent commentary for you on it because your mind's just racing. But yeah, Maeda, brilliant outing from him, and I think Forrest on the other side was excellent as well. Perversely, our wingers were the ones that helped us today. Aye,
after how it's gone all season. Darren, I thought in the second half we were getting a lot of space. We were finding, obviously it's important to be patient when you've got a man extra, work the space, find the extra man. And I thought we did that in the early period of the first half. There was a lot of space on the edge of the Rangers box. My one criticism would be that we had so much space at times. We were hitting a long range shot too often. Hatate had one, McGregor had one, I think O'Reilly had one. When we could maybe have worked it just at a bit of a quicker speed to try and carve out a better chance. But then I think the penalty, which is obviously a huge VAR stoppage, I actually thought he was going to overturn it. Obviously somebody in the VAR room suggested that he should have overturned it, but he kept his decision, and you're just looking for O'Reilly to put it away, and then we could probably have had a much more comfortable afternoon. But after that, as Kenny says, the anxiety just grew, the team looked nervy, and we were too safe on the ball, and then you get to the final 15 minutes and we're turning it over, we're giving it away dead cheaply. I thought Hatate had a poor afternoon, Taylor wasn't great. We took a couple of short corners and just gifted possession to Rangers, and we allowed them to break on us, and that just grew the anxiety in the place.
Even with the corners as well, I think we abandoned that sort of the last 20 minutes, but every corner we did get was right on Jack Butland. I think we need to find a set piece coach over the summer, and but the penalty as well. You expect Matt O'Reilly to come up there composed. I know there was a very, very long delay which can put a player off and can make him start to overthink things, but I said it in the group chat during the game, I'm not a fan of these short run-ups. Obviously Matt O'Reilly, he scored the penalty at Ibrox right down the middle at Panenka, and then the one last week at Hearts where he completely bust the net with it. So you're expecting him just to doesn't need anything special, just find the corner or just put your laces through it, but he was too casual. Butland's guessed the wrong way, it's at a good height for him, and it's pretty much an easy save. And after that, I think maybe they got in the players' heads that either it's defend what you have or go for more and risk it. You can argue a case for both, that we kind of went for it at times, and we had so much possession in Rangers' half because obviously they were a man down and they actually took John Suter off and put I think it was Dujon Sterling into centre half. Yeah. So they had no creativity in the middle of the park, and that allowed us to dominate the middle of the park and the wide areas. But ultimately, when Rangers are sitting so deep, there was very few little chances to create in. And then near the end, last 15-10 minutes, when Rangers realised they had to go for it, the chances actually opened, and even you had Jack Butland coming up for corners, and you had Adam Maeda standing on that halfway line. There was a few chances for him where he actually got one-on-one, or he was actually through on his own, and he missed it, and then he was through one-on-one, and etc, etc. So we put that pressure on ourselves, but ultimately we need to give them credit because they coped with the pressure of Rangers attacking in the last 10 minutes as well.
Aye, they did, Kenny. For all, Rangers had balls forward late in the game, and the anxiety's there because of how much riding in the game. We did have chances in the break as well. Ida came on, Awata came on. Ida gets in behind 2 or 3 times. He has one, I think, overhit cutback, one shot wide, and I think both times you're just looking for him to find his composure, and Kuhn's got an open goal for one of them, and I think maybe Maeda or O'Reilly's in for the other one. We just needed to kill it, we needed to be ruthless and just get that third goal, because that would have really calmed us down.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ida. He's shown a bit of inconsistency actually a little bit towards the end of the season, but yeah, he'd be a more mature player. He would have taken a moment and picked someone out rather than just the sort of flurried attempts at the finishes that he had that were wide of the mark. So that didn't help. That could have, it would have been 4-1, I think, if he'd have kept his head. But look, I'm proud of the guys today.
Yeah.
It separates men from boys, the business end of a season. Yeah. It wasn't that long ago that we were 5 points behind with a worse goal difference. We're chatting out here and we're fearing the worst. But Brendan Rodgers' he didn't feel the worst. He's galvanised them. This season hasn't been free-flowing great football. Even in that match, you can see that. But what it has done is dug out a crucial league title with strong psychology, and you need to give Brendan Rodgers some credit for that. What, the last 8 games we've won 7, only draw was at Ibrox, which was a good draw in terms of the table. That doesn't come easy. So the psychology's been really strong. There's been a real togetherness. The 11 players that started that game today, none of them were signings from this season. They were all from the previous season, and that's been the downfall this season. We've not improved it. We've not moved things along. But we've got a bounty now. What, 50 million, 60 million or something guaranteed income from the Champions League. That's transformational for the club. They must learn their lesson about these cheap signings. They must. But we could be able to stretch our legs in the summer, and then you might see the real Brendan Rodgers return next season. So I'm excited, but I'm proud of them. You need to be proud of them today.
Aye, Darren, Kenny's right. At this stage of the season, with so much riding in the games, it is all mental. The psychology of the game is so difficult to deal with. And listen, Rangers had the ball in their court, but they couldn't deal with that. They couldn't handle the mental stress of being in the lead and having to go and dig out results, and we have done that, and the players deserve huge credit for coming out as winners again.
Well, that's the title pretty much in the bag now. When we look back on it in 7 days' time, when we do our season review or whatever we're going to do, we're going to look back and say that these 4 games against Rangers are ultimately the ones that decided as the title. 3 wins and a draw, am I correct? Brendan Rodgers got a lot of criticism, but ultimately, I don't know his record against Rangers to the exact number.
He's only lost 1 in 17.
Lost 1 in 17. That says everything. And you can say that there was almost a little mini catastrophe in that period between January and March, where we were dropping points at home and we were dropping points away. But that can happen over the course of a season. Consistency is ultimately what wins you the league. But you're not going to, unless you're like us in Brendan Rodgers' first season, you're not going to do that every single season. You're going to drop points. But there's big games like that, big games like the one at Ibrox last week, New Year fixture, the one that starts winning at Ibrox 1-0, stuff like that. That's why we're winning the league today. That's why we're sitting here happy. Yeah,
absolutely. Kenny, so difficult to try and pick a man of the match in a chaotic game like that. You almost need to watch it back to remember half of what went on. Matt O'Reilly got the sponsor. Who else stood up for you?
I thought Vickers was good, real leadership. He's unfazed by that, real physical stuff. You know, he's a man mountain back there. Probably wouldn't have won the league had Carter Vickers not come back with the level of fitness and leadership that he had, because we crumbled without him. I would give it to Maeda, because he's just come back from injury and he gave his all today. I mean, look at what he's given for Celtic. He's not from Scotland, he's from a different continent, but he gets it. He's coming here and throwing everything on the line. Gave Tavernier a really tough time again. And they hate playing against him with good reason. He's a warrior. I would give it to Maeda. Yeah,
Darren, brilliant scenes at the end. Can you pick a standout?
I'm going to say Maeda as well. I think the fact that his season was pretty much wrote off with injury 3 weeks ago, and then miraculously he's back, and I think he comes back last week against Hearts, was it? He comes back, and then he manages to put in 90 minutes against the Rangers today. I actually noticed on the last maybe 5 minutes plus the extra 7, he looked dead on his feet, and that's expected. We know Maeda's superhuman and he's super fit, but everybody's got their limitations, and when you've been out for a few weeks and you're coming back from injury, all you can ask is to do your best. And he kept Tavernier nullified, he got the assist for the own goal, and he ran up and down the wing constantly. That's all you can ask for.
Aye, I'm going Maeda as well. That's it for Full Time Reaction. Enjoy your night wherever you are around the world. Like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you during the week for hopefully a title party at Rugby Park. Thank you.